Ben Carson spoke to Newsmax TV about Eric Holder and President Obama and their motivations, and it's his usual bombastic claptrap.
Well, I would say people should read a book called The Naked Communist. It was written in 1958, and it sort of shows the whole timeline of what would be necessary in terms of, gaining control of school systems, of unions, and eventually being able to get a foothold in government, the executive branch included, which includes the DOJ, and what could be done under those circumstances. It was written in 1958. If you read it, you would think it was written last year.
Dr. Carson, some people are going to hear your words and they're going to say, wait a minute, Dr. Carson is calling President Obama and Attorney General Holder communists. Are you doing that?
My answer would be the same. Read the book. I just gave it to you. Read that book, The Naked Communist by Cleon Skousen, and read, Mein Kampf, and read the works of Vladimir Lenin. Read them yourself. I tell people, don't listen to what I'm saying. Read it yourself. I think it'll make a much bigger impression on you.
You're right about one thing. People shouldn't listen to what you have to say. That's right. That's right. So, to understand President Obama and Eric Holder, read Mein Kampf and Lenin. That doesn't make sense in so many different ways. I mean, even the two books are wildly contradictory. When we talk about Lenin, Trotsky, Karl Marx, yeah, that's the communist school of thought. When we talk about Mein Kampf and Hitler, that would be fascism. These would be total other ends of the political spectrum, but he can't help himself. He doesn't know anything about politics. Okay? He's, I don't know, bad books, bad things, bad ideologies. That's what Holder and Obama like and want and implement. I mean, this is one of those claims where it's painfully easy to brush it aside and to just prove it wrong with 1 point. Just 1 point. Just 1 point. And there are a lot of conservative Republicans who kind of agree with Ben Carson, and they would say, yeah, Obama's a communist. That's right. Obama's a communist, and Holder's a communist, and that's just who they are. Now, how can we disprove that? Like I said, in 1 point, just 1 point. What percentage of the jobs in the U.S. economy are private sector jobs? So, in other words, what percentage of the jobs in the U.S. economy are capitalist? Big business, small business, private sector. You ready for this? 91%. What would communism be? It would be 100% government jobs. It's central planning. It's collectivism. Okay? It's the idea, the literal quote from Karl Marx, from each according to his ability, to each according to his need. Okay? This is the exact opposite of that. It's the exact opposite of that. And furthermore, under Obama, we've had over 6 million private sector jobs created. Okay, again, that's capitalism. And he's actually cut hundreds of thousands of government jobs. So if he's a socialist or a communist, he is the worst one in human history because he's doing the exact opposite of what that ideology calls for. But see, they don't know anything. They don't know anything. So what do? Look, I'll explain the psychological mindset that goes into it. It's actually very simple, and it's painfully simple and also stupid. It's this idea that Ben Carson and a lot of other far-right conservatives, they really don't know anything about policy specifics and legislation and like the nuance of, different economic ideologies, okay, different healthcare alternatives, different foreign policy ideas. Do they know anything about foreign policy, Sunnis versus Shiites versus Kurds? Do they know anything about, who our allies are, who our enemies are, why that's the case? They don't know any of that stuff. And since you don't know any of that stuff, well, what do you have to do if you want to talk about politics? Well, you have to immediately revert to personal attacks. Personal attacks and broad generalized statements that, You think prove your point that, oh, my side is so good and so right and their side is so evil. So evil that he, like, totally got his ideas from Mein Kampf and from Lenin. Yeah, that's it. That's what's happening. Or, since you don't know any details, any shades of gray, you don't follow the news on a regular basis, you don't have anything of substance to say, so you default to that. Just bombastic, over-the-top, vitriolic claims about, we're so good and they're so bad, so vote for us and like us. Something, Mein Kampf, Lenin, they're communists, even though everything they do is the exact opposite of communism, but they're communists.